not least, is the chair of the board of National Action Network. Let's give Reverend Dr. Franklyn Richardson a hand to speak to us in any way he would like. Thank you so much for bringing you first to Washington, D.C. We cannot thank you enough.
Let me tell you, I want to thank, let's give Dr. Skinner some love. She is such a consistent voice for good and for mobilizing and bringing together clergy in this country around supporting our president. And I want her to know I have a deep appreciation for what she's done. We're happy today to have this panel because the National Action Network cannot be what it ought to be without a vibrant church community that helps it to carry out its mission. It never has been. Never had all the churches involved in civil rights, but we always had enough churches. Never had all the Christians, but we always had enough Christians. And so what we end up striking to get is churches and pastors and Christians in churches who are conscious, who are socially conscious, because the injustice continues to be a reality in our community. And when I was growing up in the ministry, when I first started my ministry, I had a marvelous, as most preachers in my age group had, we had the imprint of a marvelous mentor in Martin Luther King Jr. And so Martin Luther King Jr. set the tone for what ministry ought to be for us. And so we did our studies, we did our preparation, we conducted the work of our churches in the model of Martin Luther King Jr. The challenge we have in the 21st century is that there are all kinds of new models of saying what ministry ought to be that is not necessarily empowering models. Right. You know, there's a passage that I heard my young brother, John Howard, say that Howard Wesley, I heard him say, talking about the scriptures, and there is a passage in the Bible that talks about this whole notion of living beneath our potential and possibility. And we have got to understand, when the man was sitting at the pool after 38 years, Jesus said to him, do you want to be whole? And then he proceeded to say, if you want to be whole, then you take up your own bed, you walk. You take up your own bed and you walk. In other words, the capacity to be whole is already in you. But you have to tap into your capacity. There's one of the places in the Bible where they didn't use any tactical embrace, didn't touch him, didn't give no prayer cloth, didn't give no oil, just spoke to him, said, you rise, you take up your own bed and you walk. And that's what we have got to do as congregations. The African American community can no longer explain away the failures in our community. We can no longer blame other people for our situation. We have the capacity. God has given us the resources to be whole, and we can accept nothing less than that. The National Action Network, we're committed to it, and we're looking for partners who understand that.
Amen.